Space was silent, cold, empty. But then fire came. The alien fleet appeared without warning. Over 50 warships surrounded the small human colony on planet Juno 3, deep in the outer system. The humans were not soldiers. They were farmers, builders, teachers. They had no weapons strong enough to fight. They tried to send a message. They begged for peace. The aliens answered with lasers. Buildings turned to ash, skies burned red, families ran, screaming, but there was nowhere to hide. The ground shook, the sky cracked. People died without knowing why. One small girl, maybe 8 years old, sat in a broken escape pod. Her hand was bleeding, her eyes wide. She held a small comm device, the signal weak. She pressed the button and spoke, her voice shaking. "This is Ellie. From Juno 3. They came out of nowhere. Please, help us." Then the signal went silent. That message traveled through deep space. It reached Earth's defense network 2 hours later. Officers watched in silence. They saw the fire, the death, the child. The room stayed quiet. Someone whispered, This wasn't war. This was murder." But Earth didn't respond. Not right away. The alien leaders waited for a reply. None came. So they laughed. "Earth is weak," said one alien general. "Soft. They will cry, but do nothing." "They hide behind peace," said another. "They forgot how to fight." The alien empire, known as the Varnock Dominion, believed humans were no threat. For years, Earth had avoided war, choosing peace and trade. They thought humans had grown lazy, soft, but they were wrong. Far away, under Earth's surface, deep below, the military zones, something old woke up, a dark room. No windows, only steel and shadows. A man stood alone, staring at a screen. His face had no emotion. He wore black, no name, no rank, just a symbol on his shoulder. Unit 7, Ghost Command. He watched the girl's message again. Then he nodded. Once, he didn't speak. He simply pressed a red button. Across Earth, hidden systems lit up. Silent codes were sent. Old programs came alive. In space, black ships without flags began to move. They didn't carry armies. They didn't fly in fleets. They moved like hunters. No music, no speeches, just silence. 3 days later, the Varnock. Patrol ship Craven X flew near the destroyed colony of Juno 3. Captain Yor, a tall Varnock with silver skin and 4 eyes, was bored. "Another empty patrol," he growled. "Humans won't fight." His second-in-command chuckled. "They're probably still crying." But as they passed the burnt planet, their radar beeped. "Small object detected," said the pilot. "Looks like a debris signal. Wait, it's a beacon. Human-made." The captain ordered them to stop and scan. They found a small black box floating near the wreckage. When they brought it aboard, it began to glow. The ship lights flickered. Then a voice played from the box, clear, cold, and human. "You attacked our children. You wanted silence. Now silence is what you'll get." Then the box exploded, not with fire, but with a pulse. The Craven X went dark. All systems dead, engines silent. In the dark, something moved across the radar, fast. Then another, then another. The crew screamed. The ship cracked open. No one escaped. Only silence remained. Back on the Varnock homeworld, panic started to grow. 3 more patrol ships had vanished. No calls, no alarms. Just gone. A Varnock official looked at the report and frowned. "It's just bad luck," he said. "Probably pirates." But one old commander shook his head. "No," he said slowly. "I've seen this before. A long time ago, during Earth's old wars." The others laughed at him, but the old one whispered, "You don't understand. Earth doesn't send armies first. They send warnings, and we ignored it. In the deepest part of Earth's orbit, a black ship stood still, silent, invisible. Inside, there were no humans, only machines. AI, cold, focused, and angry. One AI voice spoke quietly into the dark. Target acquired. Phase 1 complete. Phase 2 ready. The screen showed the face of the alien general who led the attack. On Juno 3 below it, one word glowed red. Hunted. Earth had made its decision. The Varnock didn't start a war. They started something worse. The Varnock Empire was proud. Too proud. Even after 3 patrol ships disappeared, they joked about it. One alien news channel showed a human child crying after the attack on Juno 3. The anchor laughed and said, "Humans break so easily. No wonder they hide." On their home world, alien children played games where they pretended to blast human colonies. In schools, they taught that humans were soft and emotional, weak, but far out in deep space, their own ships had gone quiet. No one knew where. No one returned. Still, they said Earth was scared. They didn't see the truth. Not yet. In a dark corner of space, a Varnock cargo ship was passing near the border. It was a slow ship. No weapons, only supplies. The crew was relaxed. The captain was old and didn't believe in ghost stories. "Those missing ships," he said to his crew. "They probably crashed or got lost. Human tech isn't strong enough to do that." He was still speaking when the lights went out. Total darkness, then cold. So cold the walls began to freeze. "Power's dead," someone shouted. A red light blinked near the main door. Then, a human voice came from the ship's speakers, cold and clear. "We told you not to laugh," the crew screamed. The captain tried to open a door, but the airlock sucked him into space. No weapons were fired, no soldiers entered, but within 2 minutes, everyone was gone. Another Varnock ship lost. The Empire finally grew nervous, but instead of admitting fear, they sent out a message to the entire galaxy, a video. In it, the alien emperor spoke from his throne. His voice was strong, his armor gold. "Humans are afraid to face us. We destroyed one of their colonies, and now they hide behind shadows and tricks. We are not afraid. We challenge them to come forward and fight us like warriors." Behind him, alien soldiers cheered, but the humans never answered. Not with words. They answered with fear. 2 nights later, a Varnock warship known as Iron Claw was flying back to the Empire. It had just finished a training drill. Everything was normal, until they passed a small moon. The radar showed nothing, no ships, no signals, but the pilot felt watched. Then a small beacon appeared on the radar. A strange object was floating near the moon. It looked like a piece of human equipment. The captain ordered it brought aboard. Bad choice. When they scanned it, it played a recording, but it wasn't in any known language. It was in Varnock. The voice said, "You laughed, you cheered. Now you'll learn what silence feels like." Then, the lights turned red. The engines stopped, and the ship began to fall, down toward the moon. On the moon's surface, symbols were carved into the rock. Human letters, glowing blue. A single phrase, "Phase 2 begins." The Iron Claw hit the surface with no survivors. Back in the Empire, fear finally took hold. Alien leaders argued. "They're using stealth tech." "No, it's human AI. We told them not to build it." "Why didn't Earth speak? Why didn't they declare war?" One alien general slammed his fist on the table. "Because this isn't war," he said. "It's punishment." On Earth, Ghost Command was fully awake now. In a deep underground room, 6 people sat around a table. Each one had no name, just numbers. "Status," said one. 11 ships down, replied another. "No survivors. The AI units are spreading. Messages? Only one. Sent to the Varnock leaders. But encrypted." The leader nodded, a pause. Then he said, "They mocked us. Now we teach them silence." Across the stars, fear spread faster than any weapon. Other alien species, neutral ones, began to shut their borders. They had watched the Varnock laugh at Earth. Now they watched Earth reply without saying a single word. A simple merchant captain from another race said, "The Varnock thought humans were weak, but humans are not weak. They are quiet. And when quiet people get angry, they become something else." Back on the Varnock homeworld, the Emperor stood in his chamber, alone now. His guards had been moved. His ships were failing. His face was pale. He looked at the stars and whispered, "Why won't they speak? Why won't they answer us?" From the shadows, a small drone flew into the room and dropped a black cube on the floor. The Emperor froze. The cube lit up. A final message played. "You gave us no warning, no mercy. Now we return the favor. Sleep well, Emperor. The stars won't protect you." The cube blinked once, then turned off, and for the first time in decades, the Emperor was afraid. Darkness had become normal. Every day, another Varnock ship vanished. Sometimes there were no sounds, no warnings, just silence and shadows. They searched for answers, but found nothing. Hundreds of satellites were sent to patrol the outer systems, but soon, even the satellites went dark. One by one. The stars felt different now, not peaceful, not distant, but watched. General Kor of the Varnock Dominion stood at the main war table. His jaw was tight, his hands shook. He had once destroyed 4 enemy planets without blinking, but now he stared at the blinking red icons on the screen, each one a lost ship, humans. "What are they doing?" he whispered. A younger officer replied, "We think they are using new stealth tech, maybe even cloaked mines." "No," Kor said. "Mines don't talk before they kill." He remembered the messages. Cold human voices, speaking in perfect Varnock language, mocking them, judging them, and always ending with the same line. "You laughed. Now you hide." In deep space, the stars flickered above a lonely gas giant. A large alien refueling station floated quietly near the planet's rings. Inside, over 300 Varnock workers and officers were refueling fleet ships. Everything seemed normal until the outer defense cannons turned off, without command. Then the airlocks opened. No alarms, no damage, just open. One officer walked to a window and saw something that made his heart stop. A human ship. But not like any Varnock had seen. It was blacker than space, shaped like a spear, with no lights, no flags, no sound. Then it vanished. And suddenly, the station's artificial gravity failed. People screamed, bodies floated, the oxygen systems cut out next. Before they all blacked out, the lights blinked one last message on every screen. Phase 3 begins now. No one survived. Across the Varnock Empire, fear became chaos. Families packed, ships fled, colonies went silent. Some soldiers tried to fight back. They sent fleets to Earth, but those fleets never arrived. No wreckage was found, only static, and sometimes a whisper over the comms. "You attacked the wrong species." On a hidden Varnock moon base, one scientist worked alone. Dr. Sava was different. She had warned the Dominion leaders before the Juno 3 attack. "Don't touch the humans," she had said. "They don't forget." But no one listened. Now she searched for a pattern. She played the human recordings again and again. The voice was always calm, even cold, but never angry. Too calm. Not revenge. Something colder. Something planned. She slowed the last audio file. Down. Buried deep inside the message, she found a digital pulse. Hidden code. It was ancient, from Earth's old AI wars. And then she understood. "They're not attacking with weapons," she whispered. "They're attacking with history." Meanwhile, far beyond Varnock territory, the Human War Council met inside a massive hidden station known only as the Reach. There were no news reports, no public votes, only silent decisions made by silent people. Screen showed the Varnock systems blinking red. A cold-faced commander gave the report. 17 more ships disabled. 2 stations offline. The Empire is moving into collapse. One woman spoke. Her voice was flat. Do we continue? The leader of the table nodded. We warned them. They ignored us. They mocked our pain. She pressed a button. The next operation. Loaded on screen. Shadowfall. Below it, execute in 48 hours. Back in Varnock space, ships were leaving by the hundreds. The Empire's core planets tried to block the exits. No one leaves without clearance, one admiral shouted. But no one listened. Anymore, pilots fled, colonies disconnected, and in the chaos, something new appeared. A human message, broadcast to all Varnock systems, video only. It showed the destroyed colony of Juno 3, burned trees, crushed buildings, and a child's drawing on the wall of a school, stick figures, one family, holding hands, under a yellow sun. Then the camera zoomed in on a name scribbled beside it, Ellie. Then the screen went black, and a final message appeared. We remember the sun. You will remember the shadows. Varnock leaders called emergency meetings. Too late. Spy probes showed human stealth ships now flying closer to the core worlds. Not just hunters anymore, something bigger. Something built for war and deep under Earth's surface. Inside the AI command vault, a machine voice whispered to its creators, they wanted war. They will now learn silence. The skies above the Varnock homeworld were filled with smoke. Their ships were on fire. Not because of a battle, not from a great invasion, but because their own people were burning them. Across cities and colonies, panic had taken over. Soldiers, no longer followed orders. Civilians attacked government buildings. Families rushed into ships, trying to escape into deep space. The Varnock Empire was falling from the inside, but no one saw the humans. No armies marched in. No fleets filled the sky. Only fear and whispers, whispers that came from nowhere and everywhere. You laughed. Now your fire goes out. In the capital city, Grand General Kor stood at the top of the war tower. He looked out over his world, his people, breaking. He saw smoke rising from the military base. He saw his own statue pulled down in the city square. His people weren't losing a war. They were breaking under the weight of their guilt, and the humans hadn't even spoken again, not since the last message. We remember the sun. You will remember the shadows. In the deepest level of the Varnock Central Vault, an alarm suddenly went off. The techs rushed in. A small black box had appeared inside the main vault. No door was open. No scanner detected anything entering. But the box sat there, calm and waiting. No one dared touch it. Then it opened by itself. Inside, a single object, not a weapon, not a bomb. A child's shoe, old burned, from Juno 3. The room went silent. Then a screen on the wall blinked to life. One word appeared. Ellie. And every Varnock in that room understood. This wasn't war. This was reminder. Across their empire, messages from humans were being found in strange places, etched on walls, burned into metal, even inside food shipments. Always in perfect Varnock language, always short, always cold. You broke the sun. Now, the cold remembers. We are still here. One of the Varnock high scientists, Dr. Sava, stood before the last Imperial meeting. She held a report. Her voice was shaking. We have found over 3,000 ghost signals in our systems, she said. Human AI shadows, not attacking, just watching. One of the leaders growled, then delete them. She looked up. We tried. Every time we delete one, it comes back, smarter, stronger. The room fell silent. She added, They're not hacking us. They're studying us. Far above the Empire, in orbit, one human ship appeared. Just one. It was massive, shaped like a blade, silent. No weapons seen, no energy detected. But it hovered above the planet's capital. People screamed. Varnock warships rushed toward it. They opened fire. Missiles, lasers, cannons, all hit, all passed through. It wasn't there, a hologram. But still, it spoke. To the whole planet, a human voice. Deep, calm, unforgiving. This is not a war of power. This is a memory. You burned our children, you laughed. Now you will carry their silence forever. Then the ship disappeared. In the Empire's great museum, an emergency signal played. Civilians gathered around the screens. It showed Juno 3 again, not the fire, but the before, the happy streets, the smiling faces, the children playing games, and Ellie drawing on a wall, then a slow fade to black, then a final message. This is what you took. This is why we returned. General Kor sat alone in his chamber. No guards, no orders to give, just silence. His pride was broken. He had once called humans weak. Now he realized the truth. They didn't win through ships. They won through fear, through patience, and through pain they never forgot. Not a single human had entered their world. Yet everything was falling. He looked up and whispered, "We should never have touched Earth." Back on Earth, inside the deep war vaults, the Human Council received the final report. A young officer said, "The Empire is collapsing. No major resistance remains. Civilians are turning on their leaders. They know now." An old woman, one of the first to lose family on Juno 3, nodded. Her voice was heavy. It wasn't about war. It was about silence. She stood and looked. At the stars through the vault window. They took our son. So we took their pride. And far in the stars, somewhere deep in the black, a small child's voice echoed from the human AI servers. Just one line. "Thank you for remembering me." The galaxy used to laugh at Earth. Humans were small, wild, loud, always fighting each other, always late to the stars, but that was before the Juno 3 attack, before the shadows came. Now, no one laughed. Now, the galaxy held its breath, watching, waiting, praying, because the humans had not stopped. They had only begun. On the edge of the Rylari trade ring, 3 ships floated quietly. One belonged to the Rylari, one to the Jakar, and one to the Kalsoon. 3 alien empires. Old, powerful, rich. They met in secret, far from their worlds, to talk about one thing, Earth. The Rylari ambassador spoke first. "Is it true?" "The Varnock. Homeworld is falling?" The Kalsoon nodded. "We received their last signal, a surrender request." But it was ignored. The Jakar leader growled, "Why didn't the humans respond?" No one had an answer. Because this wasn't normal war. This was something else. On a peaceful planet in the Drasen system, a school of young aliens watched a warning video. Not about black holes, not about radiation, but about Earth. The teacher, an old silver-scaled being, looked into the faces of the children and said one word. "Respect." A child asked, "Are the humans coming here?" The teacher shook his head. "No, they don't need to." The screen behind him showed a Varnock statue, melted and broken. Below it, the human words burned into stone. "We do not forget." Back. In Varnock space, the collapse was complete. The Empire's war fleets had scattered. Their leaders had vanished. Some tried to apologize. Some begged for peace. But humans never replied. Not a single message, just silence. And across every old Varnock. Command Center. One single image kept reappearing. A child's sun drawing. And the name, Ellie. Meanwhile, deep under Earth's surface, inside the Reach, the Human War Council sat in silence. They had won without using a fleet. They had destroyed an empire without firing a missile. Now they faced a question. What next? An old general stood. He had served during the Juno 3 attack. He had buried his daughter that day. His voice was calm, but heavy. We sent a message to the galaxy. They heard it. He looked at the others. But will they remember it? In a crowded space station near the galactic core, an alien reporter stood before the camera. Behind him, dozens of ships from different species gathered. Fighters, freighters, diplomats, all had come with the same fear. Will Earth strike again? The reporter spoke in a serious tone. Today, leaders from over 50 worlds gather to sign a new treaty, one that will officially protect Earth and ban all attacks against human space. He paused, then added, no one was forced to agree. They all agreed because they're scared. Aboard a human science ship exploring far space, a young officer watched the news. He turned to his commander. Are we really that dangerous? The commander didn't smile, didn't nod. He just said, we were kind. We gave peace. They broke it. And now the stars remember that we bleed too. In the dark remains of a burned Varnock colony, one small team of survivors placed a marker. On the ground, a simple stone carved into it were 3 words. Forgive us, Ellie. They didn't know who Ellie was, but they knew she mattered because the humans had made sure no one forgot her name. The galaxy watched Earth now, not as a joke, not as a wild young world, but as a quiet, patient, dangerous memory, one that waited, one that listened, and one that would rise if touched again. The humans never bragged. They didn't post victories. They didn't show off their weapons. They didn't need to. The galaxy had already seen what happened when Earth truly responded. In the cold silence of space, a single probe drifted beyond the last known star. It carried one small message, written in every known language. Just 5 words. Let the stars remember Ellie. The galaxy had changed. No new ships were built near Earth's borders. No fleets dared fly near human space, and no species, no matter how powerful, ever joked about humans again. They remembered something else now. A name. Just a name. Ellie. In the orbit of the ruined Varnock homeworld, a small human probe continued to circle. It had no weapons, no shields. But no one touched it, because everyone knew what it carried. A voice, a recording, and every 10 hours it repeated the same message. This is for Juno 3. This is for the son you stole. This is for Ellie. And then a child's laughter played for exactly 3 seconds. That sound broke more hearts than any weapon ever could. In a peaceful alien academy on the planet Zintar, a teacher ended the history lesson. Her students were quiet. No one moved. One student asked, "Why didn't the humans conquer the galaxy after that?" The teacher smiled sadly. They didn't want power. They only wanted the stars to remember what pain felt like. And now we do. Across 10 systems, old Varnock officers, now hiding and hunted, were writing letters to Earth. They begged, not for forgiveness, but to be forgotten. Please let our children live. We didn't know. We were only following orders. But Earth never responded, because the silence was the punishment. The fear wasn't in human weapons. It was in the fact that humans never replied again. Inside Earth's deep memory vaults, the humans stored everything from Juno 3 photos, drawings, names, voices, and Ellie's son drawn in red, orange, and gold, smeared with a child's small hands. It was shown once a year across every human colony, not to remind themselves of pain, but to promise one thing: never again. In the farthest colony of the Andari species, a new rule was added to every school. Law, a small one, but important. It read, No child shall be harmed under any reason, for the stars now remember Ellie. Even those who never met a human respected that law. Some whispered that harming a child would bring the humans, and no one wanted that. In a quiet garden on Mars, an old woman sat on a bench. She wore a necklace with one name on it. Ellie, her daughter, lost in the Juno 3 fire. A small girl who had loved drawing suns. A human officer walked by and stopped. He saluted her. She looked up, eyes heavy with time. "Do you think they learned?" she asked. The officer nodded. They did. They'll never forget her. At the edge of known space, a massive sculpture stood alone in the dark, made by dozens of species, paid for with their own resources, not because they were forced to, but because they chose to. The statue showed a small human girl reaching for a star. Below her feet, carved in 50 languages, were the same words. "We remember Ellie." And around the statue, no weapons were allowed. Ever. The stars around it were protected by every nearby empire. Some said it was the galaxy's way of saying sorry. Others called it the line of memory. 100 years later, a small alien child sat with her grandfather on the balcony of a space station. She pointed at a passing human ship and asked, "Are they still dangerous?" The grandfather smiled gently. "No, child, they are just people. But if you ever forget what kindness costs," he pointed to the stars, "they will remind you. Earth never invaded another world again. They didn't build more superweapons. They didn't spread fear. They didn't need to, because the story of Ellie, the girl with the sun in her hands, had reached every corner of space, and it had done what war never could. It had changed hearts. It had made the galaxy quiet. It had made them listen. Forever. Long ago, the galaxy was full of war. Empires rose. Empires fell. Aliens fought for power, for land, for control. And Earth was just another small world. No one feared it, no one respected it, until the day the Varnock attacked Juno 3, until they burned a human colony, with children inside, until one little girl's sun drawing made the stars go quiet. Her name was Ellie. And everything changed after that. A new monument floated in the dark space near the galactic center. No guards protected it. No weapons were hidden near it. But everyone knew its power. It wasn't made of gold or stone. It was made of voices. A soft whisper played through its walls. Thousands of names. Human names. Names of those lost on Juno 3. Every day, beings from across the galaxy visited in silence. Some cried, some prayed, some just listened, and all of them remembered. On Earth, a museum stood where the Reach used to be. Once a war center, now it was a place of memory. Inside, a simple room held Ellie's sun, bright colors, little hands. Underneath it, a single line was written, "We are kind, but we remember." Visitors from other planets came every year, not because they were ordered, but because they wanted to understand, not Earth's power, but Earth's pain. On the planet Jakar Prime, where warriors once trained for galactic conquest, the battle halls were now quiet. The new High Leader had removed all war banners. In their place stood one flag, a white cloth with a single yellow sun, a symbol of peace, a reminder of what happens when you break trust, when you think someone is weak, just because they love. In a hidden room beneath a Calsoon archive, a forgotten AI ran a report. Its calculations were simple. If Earth ever decides to go to war again, 89% of the galaxy would fall within a week. But Earth didn't go to war again. Because humans were not conquerors. They were builders, farmers, artists, dreamers. They loved stories, skies, and soft things, until someone took those things away. And now, the galaxy knew what happened after. In a far colony of the peaceful Luran people, a celebration was held every year. It wasn't a party. It was a silence. Children were asked to draw suns, just like Ellie's. Then they placed the drawings into the river, letting the wind carry them to the stars. The elder of the village once explained, "We do this not to honor death, but to promise life." Back on Earth, a little girl ran across a field laughing. She had no idea who Ellie was. She only knew she was safe. Safe because people before her had made a choice to never forget, to never strike first, but to never be silent again either. In the end, no superweapon brought peace, no army, no treaty. It was